I think an event like this is such a fabulous example of cattle handling. I think in our industry we've got diverse ways to handle cattle, and we have horses, we have cars, we have motorbikes, we have helicopters, but in the end they've all got to come into the yard and be looked after and processed, and this is a great example of how people do that, a real test of that cattle handling.
The original idea is when we were handling weaners ourselves, quietening them down, and we were training and the whole team was watching and we're all kind of giving each other praise. And then we thought, wouldn't this be cool if we could bring other stations together and share ideas and try and promote this kind of pride of stockmanship throughout the northern cattle industry.
I'd like to commend the way that the teams and the general industry up here are really leading the way. This Stock Handling Cup is the first of its kind in Australia and maybe the first of its kind in the world. And so that's the surest sign of all that there's a commitment to continual improvement, and that's much to be applauded.
First place in the 2018 KPCA Livestock Handling Cup event goes to Calyita, the tricycle!
Doing things like today, this Livestock Cup, people are here showcasing and being so proud of how well and quietly and efficiently they can work with animals and improve things for everyone. And I think that's important for people to see, which maybe people in the cities don't. Maybe what you see on the boats with the sheep in the worst case scenario, but what the 99% of the rest of us are doing. I think that's a very important image to put out there and for people to see.
Well, low stress and no stress stock handling gets used every day in our operation, in everything we do, when we're mustering cattle, when we're handling cattle in the yards, when we're visiting cattle at the water points. It underpins everything we do and is critical to our overall animal welfare strategy, which is all about minimising stress on the animals and stress on the people.
10 minutes!
We're one of the only countries, I actually believe the only country in the world, that demands that Australian standards are withheld all the way through the supply chain. So that means that from when they leave our farm to the point of where they're slaughtered in whatever country around the world, Australian standards have to be upheld for those animals.
There's nothing like that back home in Uruguay. They don't take care about the stressing the cattle or that kind of techniques, low stress techniques. They are starting to learn from like this. They watch here to Australia to learn new things.
Here at Narina Downs in the Western Australia, we've been able to understand how important that is for cattle and for everything business, truck drivers, everything's safe here for us also working at the yards. Yeah, it's actually much more easier than how we do it in Uruguay.
I think it's important to use low stress stock handling because you always want your cattle to be calm, because if the cattle are stressed out, they're going to be a lot harder to control. Just makes your life a lot harder.
If you're like really stressed out, the cattle will get spooked out. It's inspired me to do this, seeing what my mum and dad can do.
What I would like people to be able to understand, I guess if they haven't been directly involved in this industry, is to please walk with us, and we are open to that, to showing you what we are and what this industry is about. It's far more than just exporting live animals. It's about people's welfare, it's about looking after the Australian landscape, and it's about feeding people in overseas country. And there are so many good stories out there that are linked to the cattle industry, the sheep industry and live export.
These guys are very low stress, look at them. They're just cruising over that bridge.
The understanding and the way that people handle animals now is very different than it used to be. And the wonderful science and understanding and practical application of that we see on stations now is really world-leading stuff. Western Australia in particular is in many ways leading the world in the way it understands animal and livestock management.